What is up, everyone? And now that we've gotten through all of the league previews for the week, it's time to talk about all of the top matchups that are happening from around the world this upcoming weekend in a little show I like to call Previews and Predictions, but it's Friday, so you already knew that this was coming. And we're going to start with Tottenham versus Chelsea, which I believe is a great time for Spurs to play the defending champs because the defending champs are coming off a terrible start to the season, losing 3-2 at home to Burnley with red cards to Gary Cahill and Cesc Fabregas, and the fact that Chelsea have lost their last two meaningful games at Wembley Stadium, which is where Spurs are playing their home games this season. And in fact, Chelsea lost their last two meaningful games at Wembley against another North London team. So I just don't think it looks good for them, but I could be wrong, which is why I'm throwing it over to Previews and Predictions Correspondent Adrian from Rabona TV, who I was just pretending to be mad at earlier this week for extra views. So take it away, Adrian.
One of the main reasons Tottenham struggle at Wembley is due to the pitch size. Wembley is the second biggest pitch in the Premier League, whereas White Hart Lane is the second smallest. Chelsea also has the edge historically, as they've won 3 of the last 6 meetings between the clubs, including the 4-2 crush in the FA Cup semis. Yep, at Wembley. But speaking of crushing though, they started this campaign terribly, with key suspensions and by becoming the first defending champion to leak 3 goals. Tottenham looked like they picked up from where they left off last year, as they've now scored 17 in their last 5 Premier League matches. Chelsea hasn't beaten Tottenham on the road since the Harry Redknapp days, and Harry Kane has done even worse as he's never scored in August, but he's going to break that duck. And also, Dele Alli's going to score, and what happens when Dele Alli scores? Tottenham never lose. They're going to win it 2-1.
So there you have it. Adrian has spoken, and I agree with his dynamite knowledge. And up next, we have Barcelona versus Real Betis. Because after Messi and company got their asses handed to them in both legs of the Spanish Super Cup by Real Madrid, Barca looks seriously broken. And what's even more serious than that, it doesn't seem like they have any answers for their problems. Their back line is a shambles. Iniesta and Busquets don't seem like the same players that they used to be, and that makes me kind of sad. They don't have any up-and-coming superstars coming up through the ranks, that the general public is aware of, because I'm sure they've got some incredible players in their youth teams. I mean, they're Barcelona. And overpaying for either Coutinho and Dembele, or both, seems a bit, what's the word? Desperate! And I can't remember the last time that Barcelona appeared desperate, but it was probably around the time before Pep Guardiola got hired. And now here they are again, in desperation mode. So I wonder if Pep is interested in coming back. I wonder if he would do that. Anyway, I think Barca wins this one despite the fact that Luis Suarez is going to be out for a month, because Messi will be pissed, and a pissed Messi is always fun to watch, and it'll be 3-1. And next up, it's Atalanta versus Roma. And actually, I'm quite curious about how a lot of these teams in Serie A are going to perform, most notably AC Milan and Inter, because of the significant changes that they've made to their squads. But the best pound-for-pound matchup in Italy this week for me is last season's 4th place club Atalanta hosting last season's 2nd place club Roma. Because after Atalanta's surprisingly high finish, they unsurprisingly lost all of their best players to bigger clubs, and that's not always easy to come back from. So I think they're going to struggle in this one to a Roma team that, despite losing a few key players themselves, still have Edin Dzeko in their team, who led Serie A in scoring last year. And for me, he's going to end up making the difference in Roma's 2-1 win. And now we head to Germany for Wolfsburg versus Borussia Dortmund. Because with the World Cup 10 months away, my eyes are going to be fixated on the next great American hero, Christian Pulisic, because we need him to be in top form to lead our country farther than we have ever gone before. So new Dortmund manager Peter Bosz, but I like to call him the boss, better play him regularly or we're going to have some words, my friend. Also, I think Pulisic starts and scores the game-tying goal in the black and yellow's 1-1 draw on the road. And finally, here's some other games I'll be keeping my eyes on this weekend. And this one too. Like Lyon versus Bordeaux, because with all the attention in league, currently going to Neymar and PSG, or killing Mbappe and Monaco, Lyon has quietly destroyed their first 2 opponents to go top of the table, behind 3 goals in those 2 matches from new signing Mariano, who they got on a 4-year deal from Real Madrid. So we'll see if they can keep it up against a solid Bordeaux squad. And then it'll be spying Benfica versus Belenenses, because it's the other smaller, less competitive Lisbon derby, because Belenenses hasn't scored a goal against Benfica in their last 7 games in all competitions. So I just want to see not whether they can win, because I don't think that's going to happen, but whether they can score an actual goal. And then I'll be watching the 2 top teams in the championship face-off, Cardiff versus Wolverhampton, though I tip Cardiff to do the job since they're at home and they haven't even given up a goal in all 3 games so far. And then I'll be peeking in on Tigres versus Pumas in Mexico's top division, because Tigres, for me and on paper, is easily the best team in Liga MX, which is evidenced by their +4 goal differential after 4 games, which is the second best goal differential in the league, but they've only won once out of those 4 games, and somehow they're in 11th place. So we'll see if they can get their mierda together for this one. And then in my country, there are MLS games popping everywhere as we start to near the final stretch of the regular season. But my favorite for this weekend is my Sporting Kansas City, who just made it to the Open Cup final, that they get to host, which is awesome, on September 20th, and I'm still deciding whether I'm going to go or not. I think I'm going to go, but I haven't booked a ticket yet. Versus FC Dallas, who won the Open Cup last season, but they're not playing the Open Cup in this one. It's a league matchup, and I'm going to go with these two, not only because I think it'll be a great game, but because the top 7 teams in the Western Conference are only separated by 6 points, and KC, who's in second, is only separated by 2 points from Dallas, who are in 4th. So this could have huge implications on the playoffs and their seedings in the playoffs and who gets the automatic bye and who doesn't, so make some time to watch it. And lastly, I'll be paying attention to quite a few Premier League games, including my Newcastle, who are on the road versus Huddersfield, who should be full of confidence after winning their first ever Premier League game in their first ever Premier League game. Does that make sense? Must be a special feeling to do that, like just got to the Premier League and we just won it. And I'll be watching Manchester United, and more specifically Romelu Lukaku, because I'm starting him in my fantasy team for the Warmballers Fantasy Premier League this weekend, so he better match what he did last week. He had a brace, and I'm expecting nothing less against Swansea, so come on, Romelu! Also, you better be signed up for this league, which if you haven't, I don't know what your deal is, though you might still have some time. So email we@warmballers.com with "I'm in, suckers!" and we'll send you the code. And as a reminder, if you win the league, then I'm gonna fly to your house for a pickup game and to play some FIFA with you. And I'll have some Warmballers merchandise in my hands, like the best day ever. So you better bring your A game if you wanna win this league. That is all that I am going to say. And this, I'm also gonna say this. Thank you guys for your continued support. It truly means a lot to me and to everyone that helps me. So have a good weekend. If you like what we're doing, then smash that like button so we can continue doing it. Later.